3 ways to cook Brussels sprouts so they taste good. Brussels sprouts get a bad rap. I mean, they're just, what are they?
They're just baby cabbages.
Right. They're not like little balls of snot or mush or anything like that. I think a lot of that comes from people don't know how to cook them right. And that is my history with them. I mean, growing up, they were cooked wrongly and they turned into just mush and they were gross. Okay. Just so you're aware, they should not be gray when they're done cooking. Just saying.
So we're going to show you 3 different ways of how Brian prepares Brussels sprouts that are super easy. These are not fully involved recipes. No. They're just food prep.
Think of it like a side dish kind of thing, you know, whatever you want to do. The first thing you want to do is prep them though. And for that, looking at that, see, I just cut a little bit off the end there so that you still have the majority of it held together. And then cut that in half. And then see that leaf just came right off. Don't worry about that one. It's okay. You didn't need it anyway. Now you have 2 perfect halves. So I'm just going to prep some of these Brussels sprouts and we'll get on to the cooking methods.
Yes, there are other ways to prep Brussels sprouts, but this is the method that Brian uses and it works really well for all the methods we're going to show you today.
Yeah, I pretty much always do them this way. Like there's the crosshatch method and things like that that I just don't really do. So, you know, we're just doing it this way. Okay, so you want to have a pot of water going on your stove and a bamboo steamer. If you don't have a bamboo steamer, you can use like a stainless steel one or something like that. You can even just like use a colander and a pot and a lid. I mean, just anything you can do to make a steamer is what you want to do. But they're actually pretty inexpensive. And Derica very carefully separated these out into 3 semi-equal portions. So the first, obviously, is steaming. And I'm just going to place them in a steamer basket. Notice, no oil. No seasoning even. Last time I did this way, Derek was like, what did you put on these? Nothing. Literally just steamed Brussels sprouts.
They were delicious.
Now the timing on this is going to depend on a lot of things. 1, the size of your Brussels sprouts. 2, how hot your water is actually steaming. Like, because if it's at a very aggressive boil, it's going to be a little hotter than if you have it at a lower boil. So I'm going to tell you the time when they're done.
A third option or a third variable is going to be how many Brussels sprouts you're actually steaming. If you have multiple tiers of steaming baskets, then it may take more time.
All right, so just put the lid on, and this is going to go over that pot of boiling water as soon as it comes to a boil.
Method number 2 is air frying. So we're going to lay out our second group of Brussels sprouts in our air fryer.
I always put them face down. It's just a habit, but I also feel that the inside will brown faster than the outside. So you want that put away from the heat so that they don't burn.
Also, it's easier to set something on its flat side than its curved side.
Well, there's that too, but you know. Now again, air fryers vary. So I can't tell you exactly how long until it's done.
The one thing that's critical with air frying is you want to make sure you have a single layer. You don't want them stacked on top of each other.
Right. That's where the Thai fur, like we have, it has this large area. I could have put all these Brussels sprouts in here. This is why we love this thing. I'm so glad that Thai fur sent it to us. If you haven't seen the video where we talked about it, we did a whole video on just the Thai fur air fryer. But anyway, I'm going to put these in 350 I'm going to start it at 8 minutes and then I'll check them. Okay, after about 7 minutes, this is what they look like. There's a little bit of browning on some of them. They definitely are done. I poked a couple with my finger. They feel like they are fully prepared. So I'm going to shut off the air fryer. Okay, so our water finally came to a boil, put the basket on there, and I'm gonna let that go for about 10 minutes or so. That's probably plenty. Now we're on to method number 3, and that is in the pan. This is by far my favorite method. I have my pan on the stove on about 6 on my stove, which means like medium to medium high. And I'm just going to lay, whoops, we don't need this. Just going to lay all of my Brussels sprouts in the pan. I start from the outside and work my way in. The center will always cook faster than the outside. Remember that whenever you're cooking. Okay, now that they're all in, do nothing. Just let them sit for 3 to 5 minutes. What we're looking for is a little bit of browning on the underside. Okay, we're a few minutes in and just a quick spot check. Yep, we have some browning on some of these. The ones in the middle obviously go a little bit more. Yep. but they're all looking pretty good. So at this point, we want to turn the heat down a little bit. I want to add the next ingredient, and that is, you guessed it, our homemade veggie broth from scraps. And I'm just going to put a little bit in the pan at first. It's going to bubble up and sizzle at you. That's why just a little at first. And then I want to cover the pan with about 1/8 of an inch of broth or so. Not too much, just a little bit. And then put a lid on it for just a few minutes, like maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, after just a couple of minutes, I'm going to remove the lid. And now I'm going to turn the heat up a bit, but don't walk away, because see that liquid in there? We're actually going to boil all that liquid off. But what's going to happen is all the flavors are going to infuse into the Brussels sprouts. That's why we don't want to put too much liquid in there at first. I mean, too much is just going to boil them, really. At this point, they're sort of braising in that liquid. All right, we're getting really close. Most of the liquid is gone, so I'm going to turn that pan off, because I do not want to burn them at this point. There's really no liquid in here to speak of, like no oil or anything like that, so they will burn if you leave them too long. But we want all the liquid gone before we plate. And now we're going to plate these up. We're going to meet you back over the table for a tasting. Okay, so we have them all on the plate. First we have the air fried, then we have the steamed, and then we have my pan fried method. Now the first thing that you notice right off the bat is that the air fried ones obviously look a little crunchy, which might be a good thing depending on what you're putting them in. The steamed ones might look a little, I don't know, they almost look overcooked, even though they're actually not. But look at the color on the pan fried ones. They're beautiful. There's 2 of each, because the rest are going in our lunch. But we want to taste these. Now, the first thing is the air fried. There is a little bit of browning on the bottom. Not too bad. They are fully cooked, but let's taste it. Not bad. That was like 7 minutes, and then I let them sit for like 5 minutes, so they do steam through if you leave them in the air fryer. Not my favorite method of cooking Brussels sprouts, because I just feel like they can burn way too easy. They get browned super fast.
It's a great method if your stovetop is occupied and you want it to be really quick.
Yeah, it's a super fast method, because literally you saw it. No seasoning, no anything, just put them in there, 7 minutes, they're done. Steaming required a little bit more effort, not much, and only about 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes. I cut them short. It was not 10 minutes. They did sit for a couple minutes, so realistically 6 to 7 minutes, but check them. There's no browning with steaming, obviously, but this method supposedly keeps more of the nutrients. That's what people say anyway. I feel like it's a milder flavor than the air fried. For some reason, roasting them makes a bolder cabbage flavor. So if you don't like the taste of cabbage or Brussels sprouts, you might like steamed better than the air fried, which is kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
There's a little bit of sweetness that's retained when you steam them.
Yeah. And that's definitely, coming through. Now, you might be saying, but you didn't season these at all. No, I didn't. And we did that on purpose, because I use Brussels sprouts for a variety of reasons. And sometimes I want them seasoned one way versus another. So I want to show you how they can be without any seasoning whatsoever. Honestly, they're still great. We usually eat them this way. And next is my favorite method, the pan fry. Now these I leave just slightly on the crunchy side sometimes, just a little touch of texture. But look at that nice browning, beautiful green color. And let's see how it is. First, that little bit of char adds so much to it. It's kind of like the best of both of those. You have a nice, almost buttery, sweet flavor from the steaming and braising with a little bit of the char from the air fry, but without the crunchy, overcooked, because some of the outside leaves get turned brown and it's just not all that attractive. I personally love the pan fry method.
All 3 methods, notice, had no slime, no mush.
Oh, yeah.
They still had a great crunch and texture and flavor. All the things that people complain about when they think of Brussels sprouts, we personally don't experience in these methods.
That said, I joked about it before and somebody corrected me, but I'm still going to hold true to this statement. When I went to visit my mom last year, I bought frozen Brussels sprouts just for ease of use, because I know her kitchen was kind of cramped and I didn't have a lot of space to work with. Those were the closest thing that I have experienced to the green snot ball that people were talking about, because they just didn't defrost well. I don't know if it was just that brand. I don't remember the brand or anything like that. But fresh Brussels sprouts are actually pretty inexpensive. They're really good for you. And honestly, they make for great vegetables to add to things. We use them almost every day. I put them in stir fries. I put them in fried rice. I put them in pasta. I mean, you name it. The sky's the limit for these things. So
do you have a favorite method of cooking Brussels sprouts that we didn't cover today? Let us know in the comments below so that way other people can share in your enjoyment of our favorite vegetable.
And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Bistro.